This is section 10.7, interpreting the discriminant. Well, first we need to know what is the discriminant. The discriminant is the term beneath the square root sign in the quadratic formula. So if you think back, the discriminant would be equal to b squared minus 4ac. Again, it's what's underneath the square root sign. It is not the square root of b squared minus 4ac. It's just b squared minus 4ac. What's really cool about the discriminant is that the value of the discriminant tells you the number of solutions that there are to a quadratic equation. So before you even solve the equation, look at the discriminant and you'll have a predictor as to how many answers there are. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, then you know there are two solutions to the equation, or two x-intercepts. And that would be this case. Okay, if we take a look at this graph, we'll slide this over a little bit, we could see that this has two solutions or two x-intercepts. The parabola could also be downward facing, but it would cross the axis twice. That is because the value of the discriminant is positive. Let's look at another case. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then there's only one solution to the equation. The parabola will actually touch the axis. It may open up or it may open downwards. Here the discriminant equals 0. So when it equals 0, it does not mean there is no solution. It means there is one solution, one point where the parabola touches the axis. Our last case is when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. In this case, there is no solution, because you cannot take a square root of a negative. That only means that the parabola does not cross the x-axis at any point. The parabola may go up, it may open down, it could be in any quadrant. It does not mean, though, that it does not exist. Let's take a look at this example. We're going to use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions. So our first equation is 2x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. We know the discriminant equals b squared minus 4ac, so we're going to plug those numbers into the equation. So it equals 6 squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 5. That is 36 minus 40, or negative 4. Because the discriminant is negative, that means there is no solution. That means there are no x-intercepts of the parabola. It does not mean it is not a parabola. It means it does not cross the x-axis. The next one is a little simpler. It's x squared minus 7 equals 0. Okay? We can solve this very quickly using square roots to see that x equals plus and minus the square root of 7. So when you solve it, you see there are two solutions. We could have predicted this with the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac equals 0, because you see there's no x term in this equation. That means b equals 0. 0 minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 7. That is positive 28. Remember, if the discriminant is positive, you have two solutions. That means your parabola crosses the x-axis. There are two x-intercepts. In the next example, 4x squared minus 12x plus 9, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. That's negative 12 squared minus 4 times 9. That's 144 minus 144. That's 0. Remember, if it's 0, it means there's one solution, one intercept. The vertex of the parabola is actually touching the axis. So let's look at the next couple. Okay, 3x squared minus 7 equals 2x. To do the discriminant, you have to write this in standard form and define a, b, and c. In this case, a is 3, b is negative 2, and c is negative 7. So then you can go ahead and calculate d. The discriminant, is negative 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 7, which equals 4 plus 84 equals 88. Because the d is positive, there are two solutions. Take a look at these. Move these up a little bit for you. This is x squared plus 4x plus 3. Calculate the discriminant. You should get a positive answer. That means there are two solutions. In the next one, 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. When you calculate the discriminant, you get a negative answer. That means there are no solutions. It does not cross the x-axis. And the last one, negative x squared plus 2x equals 1. That, in this case, the discriminant is 0, so you get one solution. You can try to work those out. You can pause this and work them out. Make sure that you can confirm that you get the exact same answer, please. We're going to use the discriminant to solve a word problem here. The Centennial Fountain in Chicago shoots a water arc that can be modeled by the graph of this equation. Y equals negative 0.006 x squared plus 1.2x plus 10, where x is the horizontal distance in feet from the river's north shore, and y is the height in feet above the river. What we want to know is, does the water arc reach a height of 50 feet? If it does, how far from the north shore is the water arc 50 feet above the water? Okay, so take a look at this graph. If the left-hand side, the axis on the left, is the north shore of the river, then you're shooting water up from 0, 0, and it's forming the shape of a parabola. We want to know, does it ever reach 50 feet? Okay, that means, is there a solution at 50 feet? In other words, we're going to use the discriminant to solve this. So you're going to set y equal to 50. That is the height that you're looking for. When 50 is substituted in the equation, you get 50 equals negative 0.006 x squared plus 1.2x plus 10. Bring the 50 over to the other side, so your constant term now becomes negative 40. Find the value of the discriminant. This will tell us if the arc ever reaches 50 feet. Okay, so b squared minus 4ac is 1.2 squared minus 4 times negative 0.006 times negative 40, and that is 48. Because the d is positive, there are two solutions here. The water arc reaches 50 feet 2 times. So let's correct this so you can see that that is a squared term there. Then we're going to solve the quadratic equation. Now that we know there are two answers, we want to know where exactly that water arc reaches 50 feet. So we're going to solve the equation using the quadratic formula to find the distance from the north shore where the arc is 50 feet high. So here we get x equals, of course, the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So that's negative 1.2 plus or minus the square root of 0.48 divided by 2 times negative 0.006. So we get two solutions. X is approximately 42 feet, or x is approximately 158 feet. That tells us that the water arc is 50 feet above the water, 42 feet from shore, and 158 feet from shore. Well, that makes sense. It's the shape of a parabola. So it's going to hit the height once going up, then it's going to reach the vertex, and then it's going to fall. So it's going to go like this, right? And at some point twice, you have 50 feet. Okay? The one time, you're at 42 feet from shore, and the other time, you're going to be 158 feet from shore. Okay? Remember, parabolas are mirror images on each side. So this is the same shape on both sides, and it's going to reach the same height at the same time, right? Equidistant. And of course, we have the axis of symmetry dropping through the middle, so you could graph that if you need to.